Hello everyone, welcome to the AKTU official channel. This is Anamika, Associate Professor from Galgodia College of Engineering and Technology. In today's class, we will start electromagnetic energy and energy density. In this, we will see how electromagnetic fields store energy. Well, in electromagnetics, two kind of fields exist. First is electric field and second one is magnetic field. The energy stored in magnetic field is stored with a device known as inductor, and energy stored in electric field is stored in capacitor. The energy mathematically can be expressed as half Li square. This is magnetic energy. Similarly, the electrostatic energy which is stored in capacitor can be mathematically expressed as half Cv square, where C is the capacitor and B is the potential difference between the plates of capacitor. Capacitor is a device made up of two conductors separated by a dielectric. Similarly, inductor is a device which stores magnetic energy and it is made up of a conductor in a coil form like this. So, the energy formula is having half Li square, where L is the inductance and I is the total current flowing through the wire. Inductance further can be of two types, that is self inductance and mutual inductance. If we define a inductor, inductor is a device or which stores magnetic energy, and inductance is a property of conductor by virtue of which it opposes any change in the current. Further, due to this property, there is an increase in current which is characterized by time constant, which is equal to L by R. Further, it stores magnetic energy. In the same way, electrostatic energy is stored with the help of capacitor and the value is half Cv square. But here we are studying electromagnetic fields. So, we need to express this energy, electromagnetic energy, in the form of electric field or magnetic field. So, in order to express this magnetic energy with the help of magnetic fields, we are having two kinds of fields. One is B, which is known as magnetic flux density. Another one is H, which is known as magnetic field intensity. Well, here we are having L and I. We know that L is the inductance which is equal to total flux linkage by current. Now, the flux, this is the flux. Mathematically, we can write it as a del F, del phi by del I. Now, we can find this phi using Gauss law of magnetostat. Gauss's law of stat, and this current can be found with the help of Ampere's law. Ampere's law. According to Gauss law, total flux inside a closed surface is equal to 0, and flux can be found with the help of this formula, phi is equal to B dot ds, where B is the flux density. And according to Ampere's law, H dot dl is equal to total current enclosed. So with the help of these formulas we can write phi value and I value and can find the value of inductance. Here we can see that phi is equal to B dot ds, where B is the magnetic flux density. We can write B as mu h, because B is equal to mu h, where mu is the permeability and h is the magnetic field intensity. So it can be written as phi can be written as mu h. In place of B we can write mu h. In place of delta ds we can write dx dz. Why? Because this is the dx, the flux, magnetic flux density is going in this direction in this way, and this is a crossing, this is a crossing this area, and the area will have dx and dz value. So in place of ds we have written dx dz. Here this value can be put here, mu h dx dz. Now in denominator we are having delta I, which can be found with the help of Ampere's law, and finally we can put it in the original formula. After putting it we can find in place of L we can write mu h dx dz. Here I am writing it again, Wm, that is magnetic energy, can be written as half Li square, where L can be written as, from this formula we can write mu h dx dz, half mu h dx dz divided by delta I. Delta I can be written as h del y, and here I square is there, so I square can be written here. Finally we will get half mu h dx dz delta I. Now delta I can be written from here, because I is flowing in this way, so we can write dy. H is going in this direction along y axis, B is going in this direction, so it means that H is also going in this y direction only. So we need to multiply, we need to take dl as a dy. So here we have written dy, h dy, this is based on h dl equal to I enclosed, and h dy will be equal to delta I. So in place of delta I we can write h dy. So finally this will become half mu h dx dz. H, in place of delta I we can write h del h dy. Now it will be finally half mu h combinedly we can write h square, and dx dy dz can be written collectively as dv. So we will write it as dv. So finally this became like this: delta Wm differential magnetic energy is equal to half mu h square dv. Now as it is a differential magnetic energy, so we can write energy in a magnetostatic field in a linear medium as Wm dv integration of Wm dv. Now as Wm is equal to mu h square dv, so we know that mu h, from here this mu h can be written as b, here we have seen that mu h can be written as b, so we can write this value as b dot h dv also. Further, as b is equal to mu h, so we can write mu h square also, and further we can write half b square by mu also, with the help of this relation only. Now we will see the energy density. Energy density is nothing but the total energy per unit volume is known as energy density. As we are having the formula for magnetic energy, so we can easily find the value of energy density. So the magnetostatic energy density Wm in joule per cubic meter is defined as Wm. Usually it is denoted with small w. M indicates for magnetic energy density. Limit dV tends to 0, delta Wm capital divided by delta V is equal to half mu h square, because if we will divide this energy with volume, this dV will cancel out, and finally we will be left with half mu h square, which further can be written as half bh and b square by 2 mu. Now we will solve some problem based on this energy and energy density concept. So here is one problem to calculate self inductance per unit length of an infinitely long solenoid. So in order to find self inductance, we can follow any of these method. The first method include two steps, in which first of all we need to determine B. B is the magnetic flux density with the help of either from Biot-Savart law or from Ampere's law if symmetry exists. One thing must be noted here, that Ampere's law can be applicable in order to find B or H only if symmetry exists. It can't be applied on those situations where symmetry does not exist. So depending upon the situation, if symmetry will exist, then we can apply Ampere's law in order to find B. Otherwise we can use Biot-Savart law in order to find B or H. Finally, if we will have the B value or H value, we can find the value of phi, that is a flux, with the help of B dot ds formula. With this formula we will get the value of phi. Once we will have the value of phi, finally we can find inductance from this formula, which says that inductance is equal to total flux linkage divided by total current. Total flux linkage lambda is nothing but the total number of loops and total flux cutting by single loop. So lambda, this is which is known as flux linkage, is equal to n phi divided by I. Alternatively, other techniques are also there. In second method we are having, we know that the magnetic in energy density is equal to half mu h square or half b dot h or b square by half b square by mu. And we also know that the energy is equal to energy stored in a inductor is equal to half Li square. So with the help of these two, we can find the, with this formula we can find the value of Wm, and from this formula we can calculate the value of L, as L will be equal to Wm 2Wm by I square. So either of the two methods, we can use any of them in order to find self inductance. So here let us use first method. We know that for solenoid is nothing but a long wire arranged like this, and this is infinitely long solenoid. So applying, as it is infinitely long solenoid, we can apply Ampere's law in order to find the value of magnetic field intensity or magnetic flux density for a solenoid. In the previous classes we have found this value also, and if you want we can find here also. This is the simple formula: H dot dl is equal to I enclosed, and we know that the length from here to here is L, then H integration of dl is equal to total current, means Ni, N is the number of length, I. So number of coil per unit length, N is the number of coils per unit length. So NIL. So H, the integration of dl will be finally L will be equal to NIL. Total current will be equal to NIL. So H can be equal to Ni, and as we know that B is equal to mu H, so we can write it mu Ni. This is a very simple to determine the value of B using Ampere's law for a solenoid. So by applying Ampere's law we have found the value of B, that came mu I N. Now N is the number of turn per unit length. Psi is once we got the value of flux density, so with the help of this formula we can find the value of flux also. So flux is finally mu Ni. This is the value of B which we have determined with the help of Ampere's law right now. S is the area of solenoid, this area from where the magnetic field of lines passing. So this is the area S. Now once we get the value of flux, we can find the value of flux linkage per unit length. This is a flux linkage, total flux linkage per unit length, where this lambda is a total flux linkage and L is the length of the solenoid. So it can be written as N phi mu N square Is. Finally, after multiplying N to flux, we will have mu N square Is. Now we know that the inductance value, inductance is equal to total flux linkage divided by total current. However, here we are finding total inductance per unit length, so we have taken L dash, which is not inductance but inductance per unit length, is equal to L by L. L is the inductance, however L, small l, is the total length of the solenoid, which will be equal to mu N square S Henry per meter. Once we got the value of L, we can get the value of inductance also after multiplying the given length. So in this way we found the value of inductance in case of infinitely long solenoid. In the next problem example, we need to determine the self inductance of a coaxial cable of inner radius A and outer radius B. In previous classes, when we were seeing the application of Ampere's law, we already solved such kind of problem where we need to find the value of H using Ampere's law. Using Ampere's law for a coaxial transmission line. Same thing is here also. and as we have already derived the formula of H or B, that is magnetic field and magnetic flux density for coaxial cable. So, here I will not derive it again. So, for a coaxial cable, two reasons exist. However, we have covered all the reason in previous lecture when we were seeing the application of Ampere's law. So, there are two reasons. One reason, when this is the coaxial cable whose outer radius is B and inner radius is A. So, we will find the value of B for two reasons. Two reasons exist. First reason is from 0 to A and second reason is from A to B. So, in order to find B for both the reason, we need to make a Amperian path. First, in first case we had made the Amperian path in between origin and A, inner conductor, and in that case the value of B is this much. I am not applying Ampere's law here, but you can apply. Ampere's law is simple. Applying Ampere's law is very simple. It is just del dot H dot dl is equal to I enclosed in the first case. I enclosed, total current flowing in inner conductor is I, coming outside, and for outer conductor current is going inside and the value of current is I. So, any point magnetic field at any point outside will be equal to 0, because total I enclosed for I outside point will be 0, because one current is going inside, other current is going outside. So, total summation of the total current will be equal to 0. So, this I enclosed will be 0, equal to 0. So, H will be equal to 0 also. So, we will see only two cases, that is when point will be in between origin to A and if the point will be between A to B. So, in this case we can find this also. Here the total current will be equal to H total dl will be equal to 2 pi rho, and total current is I, but not I completely, because I current is flowing in pi a square area. So, pi means pi a square area is having I current. So, pi rho square area will have I by pi a square multiplied by pi rho square. So, pi will cancel out. So, total current will be equal to rho square by a square I. So, here the total current will be equal to rho square by a square I. So, if we will simplify this, the H will be equal to this rho and this will cancel out, and finally we will have I rho divided by 2 pi a square. The direction, always direction is towards, if current is coming outside, then left hand finger in circle will give the direction of H. In this way, as in inner circuit the current is coming outside, then thumb will give the direction of current. If we will point the thumb towards the direction of current, then the finger will give the direction of H. So, in this direction, in cylindrical coordinate, this direction is denoted with A phi. So, the direction will be A phi. Same thing is here also. We have derived b1 is equal to mu. Why? Here we have derived h, but b is equal to mu h. So we need to multiply this quantity with mu. So we got the value of b1 mu I rho by 2 pi a square a phi, same value. Similarly, we can find the value of b2 also for the reason in between this. Well, so we will apply the formula of inductance for first region. For first region, the value of B is this much. So we can find the value of flux by this formula. Phi is equal to B dot ds integration, or simply Bs. We have the value of B as this one. S value, S is nothing but the area through which this B is crossing, and that area is a d rho multiplied by dz, d rho multiplied by dz. Why? Because the area, direction of area here in the first slide we have seen that the area direction is a phi. So area direction is a phi, it means the magnitude in cylindrical coordinate we are having 3 parameter, that is a rho, phi, z. Any time at any instant of time, if one will give the direction, rest two will give the magnitude, as here the phi is giving the direction. So rest two, other two parameters are rho and z. So obviously the magnitude will be d rho and dz, because this is giving the direction. So direction, so these two will give the magnitude. This is an easy way to find the value of ds in cylindrical coordinate, or not in cylindrical coordinate but also in spherical coordinate or Cartesian coordinate. So that's why here ds value is d rho and dz. After simplifying, we can get the value of phi 1 flux as this one. Now we can get the value of total flux linkage by giving the value of I, because for this flux total current is not I, but total current is this much. Total current is this much, rho square by a square I, rho square by a square I. So I cancelled out, because total flux linkage is equal to total phi by I. So we got the value of this is the differential flux linkage. After integrating, we can get the value of total flux linkage. Here we are seeing that we are having two differentials, that is a d rho and dz. Rho is varying from 0 to a, and z is varying from 0 to L. So finally we got the value of flux linkage like this. Now the last step is to find the value of inductance, self inductance. We know that L is equal to total flux linkage divided by current. Applying that formula, we finally got the value of inductance for inner conductor which is having a radius. Similarly, now we will apply those concept on region 2. We know that for region 2, that is in between this and this, we are having the value of magnetic flux density as this much. So again we will find the value of flux using B dot ds, where ds is this much. Why? We already discussed about this. Now we will have the value of linkage. This is the differential part. In order to find the total part, we need to integrate it, and as here differential part is d rho and dz, we need to integrate it, and rho is varying from a to b and z is varying from 0 to L. In this case, as our b is this much, so after simplifying we got the value like this, and 1 by rho, the integration of 1 by rho will be equal to log rho. So we can write it as log ln b minus ln a, and after simplifying we can write ln b minus ln a as like this. Finally, we can get the value of L external self inductance for external conductor as this one, and finally total self inductance can be the summation of internal and external. So we got the value of this. Same thing can be solved using second method also. In second method we need to apply these two formulas. We know that b value in first case is what, and in second case is what. We need to apply this formula simply, as we know that L is equal to this much. So we can write L is equal to 2 Wm by I square. We simply applied this formula where we know that the value of B magnetic flux density in both the region, means for internal conductor as well as for external conductor. So we simply put the value of B and then solved this. We know the limit of all the parameter also. Phi varies from 0 to 2 pi, however z varies from 0 to L, and rho varies from 0 to, in first case rho varies from 0 to A, and in second case rho varies from A to B. After simplifying this we will get this value, which is the same as we have derived, we got in previous method, but later method is more easy. So you can use the later method in which only these two formulas are required. It is a less difficult, so we can use the later one for more problem solving. So this was all about the today's class.